Lucas Gabriel. Back to Jose Italo.
The number 10 for Flamengo, João Gabriel, is just tucked inside. He's trying to find the ball in between the lines. He's the danger man for Flamengo right now. And the typical Brazilian number 10, this is him on the ball.
There's a lovely scoop over the defender. Right when Bobby Warshaw was calling his name, they found the feet of the number 10, who started the game on the left. And now the referee did well to see if there's an advantage there. He brings it back for the foul on João Victor. But yeah, you mentioned it. João Gabriel started on the left, but he was in a very central position there in the attack for Flamengo.
That's what you're trying to do with possession, Carter. You're trying to move the team so that you can set up 3 or 4 passes down the chain. And it's your attacking midfielder's job to recognize those moments. That when your team's building possession on one side, he floats into the danger zone after you've maneuvered the defense to a different part of the field.
It's a yellow card on that challenge, so each team with a player in the books in midfield as well. It's Nacho Casasola who goes into the books. And battling defensive midfielder will have to be careful throughout the remainder of this game. Ensuing free kick. Trying to stand it up for Ryan Paradela de Souza. And even that's a little too tall for the big number 9. Under 5 to go here. The first semifinal of the Champions Division. Still scoreless between 2 South American giants, River Plate and Club de Regatas do Flamengo. Rowing club, I believe.
That's a great fun fact.
It is a fun fact. River Plate, actually, with a really fun fact about the way they were named as well. You would think it'd be River Plate, but named after the English dock workers. Always fun to see how these very old clubs got their start. Flamengo, very much a sports club as well. They have teams and a huge sprawling campus in Rio. Just about every sport. That one doesn't go outside of the box, so they retake the goal kick.
That's a smart decision there from Valdez. The ball didn't come outside the 18. If the ball's come outside the 18, it has to get retaken, but he looked over his shoulder as it came to him. At first he was open, but then he saw that Ryan had closed him down, so he just takes a step in, doesn't let the ball come out of the 18, and they redo. Pressure avoided.
It's a shoulder charge from River Plate. Referee's been letting that type of challenge go all game long. And now coming together on the near side. Both teams pleading their case with the head man, and looks like he's got his work cut out for him in this one.
He's done a nice job early on, though, hasn't he? Balancing both, making statements by making calls, but also letting the game flow. If it's not worthy of blowing the whistle, he wants the game to keep playing.
He's allowed several challenges to go without being fouls. And now Flamengo arguing that it should be their throw, but it is River Plate. And a misplay from Brian, or was it a misplay? Did he miss that on purpose, perhaps? He'll claim it. His throw is intercepted, but that pass actually helps out Flamengo as they're able to break clear now. Long ball over the top, and one to chase here for Bruno Gabriel. He's done well to shrug off the defender. Trying some step overs, and another hefty challenge. Again, goes unnoticed by the referee. He's letting him play. And now River streaming through midfield, avoiding the challenge really well. Beltran, can he shift it over to the right? He cannot. Big intervention, and now there might be space for Flamengo to counter as this game opens up in the latter stages of the first half. Wide right now again, Bruno Gabriel cutting inside. Good tackle initially, but it's still with Flamengo. João Gabriel finding the left back, Jose Italo. He's had one shot in the first half, make that 2, and that one will go into the Hall of Fame behind Montenegno's goal.
Rodrigo and Ryan are not happy about that. Ryan had faded off on the far side and was wide open at the back post. If he had just chipped a little ball for Ryan to run onto towards the far post on that.
Forwards exactly having the most service for Flamengo in this first half. And as I mentioned, not a surprise to see a Brazilian fullback get forward and have a go. I'll tell you what, in this competition last season, I saw one of the best goals I've ever called from a right back for Flamengo.
Was it better than a goal from midfield? Because I already got that one. I've already made that play in this game.
It was pretty close to midfield. I'm gonna have to show it to you at halftime, and we can make that call. But I think what that shows is these Flamengo players of any age group have the ability to score world-class goals. Here's Jose Italo's cross blocked out of play. So we move into stoppage time here in the first half between Flamengo and River Plate. 3 minutes has been given by the referee. It's in the area here. And finally, Lombardi deep in his own half, able to clear it. Number 10 for River Plate. And now Beltran's picked out a really nice ball. Lovely weighted out to the right-hand side. A couple of step overs. Just trying to lose a defender there. Back now with Beltran. Around one. Cutting in around the second and a third, and it's in the area, and it falls to the number 10, Lombardi, and the left-footed hit just goes wide to the left-hand post of Pedro Victor.
We talked about Beltran early in the game, and he's been relatively quiet, but you give the guy 1 second around the box, and that's what he can do to you. Almost diced through 3 players.
And he started that attack as well, dropping deep and sprang a pass out wide right.
That's exactly what we're talking about. The big gap in between the defenders and the midfielders for River.
And Flamengo's found it, and the run was stopped by the right back there, Brian. He's getting a bit of a telling off from the right winger, Bruno Gabriel, who wanted him to continue that run. They do exchange a high five as Brian makes his way back to the right back position. We've talked about that gap in midfield, and Flamengo finally able to find it there from the goalie.
It's definitely going to be a topic of conversation for both teams at halftime.
Plenty to talk about as neither keeper has been forced into a save thus far. Been plenty of action in the midfield areas, but lacking for quality chances. There's the man Rodrigo. He's done it once. Maybe he thought he could do it again. Tough on the half volley there, just inside the attacking half.
What's funny there, though, is from up top, when he got the ball, you could kind of see the goalie off the line. I think we both felt it coming for a second. Certainly
he'll be buoyed by the confidence gained from his wonder goal in the group stages and searching for a second there here in the semifinal. Somehow kept in play. And that's paid off for River Plate, as Fernandez was able to keep that ball from drifting out of bounds. Left back Valentini called into action with a sliding challenge. Looked like Bruno Gabriel might be streaking away for Flamengo. Lombardi goes for the Meg. It doesn't happen. And that's a halftime whistle, evidently. A quick one from the referee to maybe match the frenetic pace of this first half, Bobby Warshaw.
Both teams followed their game plan. Tried to assert high pressure, limit their mistakes, play when they could. We've talked about this big gap in between the River backline and midfield, which both teams will need to discuss. But 0-0, a fair result through the first 35.
I beg your pardon. I guess there was one save. The mistake early on from Montenegro as he fell back on the chance there for Flamengo. Towering header at the back stick for Rodrigo. And a clever header from Nicolas Bayoni. Goes begging. As pretty much pot shots here from distance Keepers not really tested in this first half.
It's always a weird game when the left backs have the most shots.
That one went close for Martin Lombardi. But we'll have to see if these two teams come out and challenge the goalkeepers in the second half. It's scoreless at the break between River Plate and Flamengo. Stay with us. We'll be right back for all the action from the second half of the first semifinal in the Champions Division of the 2018 Generation Adidas Cup. 0-0 the score still at the halftime break. Plenty of action between Club de Regatas do Flamengo and River Plate, but not a whole lot of action in front of goal. See if that changes here in the second half as these two South American giants battle it out in the first semifinal, this year's Champions Division, the 2018 Generation Adidas Cup. A reminder to stay tuned, as after this one is concluded, we'll have the second semifinal between Atletico Paranense and Pachuca to determine who will play on Saturday's final, as we already have the Premier Division final between Seattle Sounders and New York Red Bulls lined up for Saturday. Which one of these teams will be the first to book their ticket in the Champions final? Carter Augustine joined by Bobby Warshaw. And Bobby, it was a fun first half, lots of action, tough for us to catch our breath, but not a whole lot of action for the goalkeepers to deal with. What needs to change here in the second half for these teams?
Not an end-to-end game, was it, Carter? But still fun. There's still something energetic and frenetic about it that really felt good to watch. It wasn't the most beautiful soccer. Neither team really built fantastic combinations. But there's just a sense of urgency and combativeness on the field that was fun to take in.
We talked about in the early stages how both of these teams near the bottom of the statistical standings in terms of passes.
Basically all passes, not passing numbers. Total passes, passing completion percentage, passes forward, passes an opponent's half. And it's a good example of the variety and the options and how you approach the game. A lot of teams want to be possession teams. They want to dominate the ball. And here we see two teams in the semifinals who most observers would say were the best two teams through the first 3 days, predicating their game on everything except possessing the ball.
All action pressing from both of these teams, and we've seen that play out in this game as well. And as we mentioned several times, it certainly worked for them in the group stages. There's 10 goals scored by Flamengo in 3 games and 6 goals scored by River Plate. There's a foul as Rodrigo tried to make his way through the midfield.
And it's such an interesting question. We look at the Brazilian team and the Argentinian team basing their philosophies on not having the ball and pressure and hard work and grit. And what lessons we can take from that, both as players and as an American soccer culture. And I don't have any right answers. I'm not sure. It's something I've thought about all week. But if you watch the MLS academies, they all play pretty good soccer. They all tried to pass through these teams, and Flamengo and River Plate just ran them over. And it's something that everyone who's watched this tournament will take home and say, hey, what can we take from this?
Maybe something to aspire to, as well, as certainly American players have the physical ability. And a foul in the box on Ryan for Flamengo.
One thing to pay attention to in the second half is how much the referee lets them play. We applaud him in the first half for allowing a pretty lenient game. We also mentioned that there wasn't a ton of passing. Well, those two definitely go hand in hand, Carter. It's harder to build a rhythm on the ball if the other team can come through and crush you early. So depending on how tight the referee calls this half will dictate the kind of 35 minutes we see.
There's Rodrigo getting applause from the number 10, Joao Gabriel, as the forward tracked all the way back and really wore a sore challenge into his backside to win that header, cushion it back to his goalkeeper so Flamengo can keep the ball. But you're right, I'm very curious to see how the referee continues to deal with this game. He let him play in the first half. We'll see if that remains true here in the second. Good intervention along the back line. Another hefty tackle, but one thing I've noticed from the players is they're not complaining too much about the challenges either.
They're used to it week in and week out. Everyone thinks that the Brazilian league is some gorgeous soccer, but it is the hardest league in the world. You see the hardest challenges there that you'll see of any football that you watch.
These youngsters doing very much the same here in today's semifinal. Important to note that Flamengo has started the same 11 in all 4 of their matches so far in this tournament. So we'll see if there's any fatigue, although through the weather conditions here in Dallas throughout the week, the tournament had to reorganize and reschedule some of the group matches, and as a result, these teams haven't played since Monday, so you would imagine these young legs will be able to go the full distance today. One in midfield by River Plate. A nice turn in possession as well. Here's Guillen looking for the overlap, and he gets it. Manuel Augustin Guillen. Charged for the foul there. Definitely have to shout out to Augustin there. He's got a really good name. But he did commit the foul moving forward from his right back position, and that will allow Flamengo to restart. Lucas, good to see. He's been moving just fine since that sore one in the early stages of the first half. Now, Bruno Gabriel intercepts for Flamengo.
One thing to look at here, we see Lombardi pressing up. It's because Bologna for River Plate has been tracking João Victor everywhere he's been going on the field for these first 5 minutes of this half. Notice how deep Bologna is in the blue boots in the middle of the field. That's a center striker for River Plate. He hasn't been this far back at all in the first half.
Some exception taken to that challenge by Roman Suarez. And a foul against River Plate. Just nipping at the heels there, Suarez.
You know, it's funny. It looks like he actually got the ball first on that one, too.
He did get up to make that claim to the referee and the 3 Brazilian players that had surrounded him. As we're ready for the first substitution of the game for River Plate. As the number 10 is being withdrawn. And we'll have to see who comes on. Number 11, Samuel Guzman, checking in for River Plate. Free kick into a really dangerous area, but it's managed to be hacked clear by the River Plate back line, and now Casasola will shield that ball out of play. Again, hectic. It's frenetic pace along the far side. Look at the skill there from Bruno Gabriel. He's gotten around one defender, trying to create room for a cross, and he's played it off the River Plate center half. Excuse me, that's Casasola coming over to help his defender out. Good covering play from the defensive midfielder, but he's conceded a corner here for Flamengo. And there's some of the skill that we're so familiar from seeing from Flamengo, especially. Brazilian flair on full display from Bruno Gabriel. Cross into the near post, headed away. Ryan was giving chase. Big number 9, and you picked it out in the first half. He likes to make that run across to the near post on those set pieces for Flamengo.
So far in this game, he's been stagnant on them, though. He's stood and just made a 1 or 2 yard run. He hasn't gotten any separation. That's a difference from what he was doing in the group stages.
Little tug back from Fernandez.
I think we're starting to get our answer on how the referee's going to call this half.
That was one that you think he would have let go in the first half. This one he calls. Flamengo trying to start quickly, and 8 getting a telling off from his coach right on the sideline there.
telling moment from Flamengo. They played the ball out of bounds, but nobody yelled at the passer. They all got ready for the press. It really tells team intention, because that's a good pressing opportunity with a throw in that deep.
River have done well to break away from the press, and not a foul given as Lucas Beltran, with a dismayed look on his face and a yell from the River Plate bench. It happened right in front of them.
Tell you think you know a guy, huh?
How about the V-turn there? And a nice return off the shin. Really well done from Castro Ponce. And he takes the throw quickly for Beltran. And the pressure from Beltran means Lucas just plays it out of bounds. Looked like that he could have shielded that out for a goal kick, but instead it'll be a corner for River Plate.
Castro Ponce has been quiet, but you saw that throw in there. He has the most key passes of everyone in the championship division so far.
Fernandez on the corner, headed up into the air, still in the box, still alive, just over the head of Beltran there, and Flamengo trying to start a counter, but it's seen expertly by Casasola. As River Plate again preparing a substitute. Looks like Justo D'Angelo Ronconi will come into the game, and he replaces
Bologna.
Ioni has run his final, and could this perhaps be a formation change? We'll have to see. But it looks like they're going to one up top now, River Plate.
It appears to be a 4-1-4-1 with Justo going to a center midfield role and Beltran up there by himself.
Very interesting tactical decision here. We'll have to see if that's how they remain, River Plate. Justo is coming to the game for a forward midfielder for forward for River. And that will move Beltran into a more central position. He's been one of the bright spots for River Plate at times. Beltran, you can see the quality he has on the ball.
And we saw early in the second half that Bologna was really tracking João Victor or Lucas Gabriel, the defensive midfielders, to make sure they weren't getting passes. So this is a natural substitution if that's your thought process, to cut off the lanes to them. Instead of having a forward drop, just put in a center midfielder and get the numerical advantage in that part of the field.
So River has made 2 changes to their side. Meanwhile, Flamengo holding steady.
And this is fun to see, because we talked about that gap behind Casasola in front of the River back four. So what they've done is they've dropped Casasola, given a more conservative role, less running, and they've put 2 players in front of him to track the players that he was tasked for doing in the first half. We talked about how River was going to have to talk about it first at halftime. They've done it, and they've made their adjustments.
Some skill from the left back there. He's trying to work space for a cross. How about the closing speed from Casasola? He's on a yellow card as well, but he slid in to block the cross. Now it's loose along the edge of the 18. It'll come back out to Jose Italo. Into the back of João Gabriel with the defender Lucas there, and it's a foul against River Plate.
That was a number 10 fall there, wasn't it? The little nudge, and he throws out the arms. Not saying it wasn't a foul. It probably was a foul. But that's the kind of fall only number 10s are afforded in this world.
He's got to make sure the referee saw it, right?
Can't blame him for that.
So he sold the foul. The referee definitely bought into it. Push in the back. And a free kick here for Flamengo. Left-footed onto the penalty spot. A header into the back of his own man. And a goal kick given by the referee. Flamengo players disagree, but River Plate players were arguing for a foul in the first place.
Fantastic play by Ryan, though, with the knee slide block.
Unorthodox, to say the least.
I would have given it to him.
As it is, it's a goal kick for Montenegro.
Nice header there by Casasola. Casasola had the most defensive aerial duels won just like that throughout the group stage, and many of them completed with smart passes.
Really good work there from Castro Ponce to shield off the defender. His cross attempt blocked, but it will be a corner kick again for River Plate. As Enzo Fernandez comes over to take.
Flamengo has a 4-person zone across the top of the 6, protecting the part right in front of their goalkeeper.
Zone works there as Lucas was able to head clear for Flamengo. What a diagonal that is to put the pressure right back on the Flamengo back line. And Beltran, you can see that just for a second. His first touch was a little heavy, and you see him raise his head in disgust at himself, and he barges into the back of the Flamengo player as well.
You mentioned that diagonal from Casasola, and it was gorgeous, but he's got this funny way of striking a ball, doesn't he? Where he gets it there, but it never looks very clean.
It's an interesting spin on that ball. It did hang up in the air for a little bit as well. Castro Ponce trying to slip it through with a double team from Rodrigo was a good one.
When we were growing up, were you more of a Paolo Maldini outside back fan or a Roberto Carlos Cafu outside back fan?
Oh, definitely Cafu. Here's a straight red from the back pocket. Wow, what a game changer this could be. Rodrigo is sent off. And Flamengo down to 10 men with 20 minutes to go here. Well, seemingly out of nowhere here.
Rodrigo, what are you doing, man? Is that red card worthy, do you think? Because he didn't elbow him, he just ran straight into him. It was weird. But was it violent?
Well, especially the fouls that the referee has been allowing in this game. It was a really boneheaded play. Here's a cross to the back post, headed clear. Now River Plate surely will fancy their chances into Beltran, and the stooping header, he just couldn't get good contact on it. It's out of play, but
I don't mind a red card here, but at the same time, I mean, he runs straight into him. It's aggressive, but he doesn't elbow him. Is that violent conduct? Is that reckless force? I'm not sure what category that fits into, but at the same time, I'm not saying it shouldn't be a red card. Just a weird play by Rodrigo.
It's a really boneheaded move from Rodrigo to just clatter into the back. You see Casasola did step in front of him, but not too much. He was really just holding his own position. Very, very curious. And what impact will that have on this semifinal? As Beltran is just swinging his legs crazily there in midfield. The Brazilians have to try and deal being down a man.
Not a big tactical adjustment needed here from Flamengo. They were in a 4-4-2. They just lost the center striker. It's an easy switch to just go 4-4-1. Ryan, your lone striker, and he's the kind of striker you want in the situation. He can hold up the ball, he can run the channels, bring other players into it, and kill time.
Referee now calling over Flamengo defender. As there's little afters from Jose Italo on that challenge on the near side corner. Nothing more than a talking to, and corner kick into the near post. Cleared away, but still alive. River Plate now. And onside. Fernandez blasts it over the near post as Joao Victor remains injured from the initial clearance. That's a tricky one there because he held Fernandez onside as he was injured, laying just about near his end line.
Now listen, Carter, I'm not going to say he's not hurt here and he doesn't have a reason to lie down. What I will say is a very, very intelligent soccer decision to take a minute here to slow down the game. You lose the red card. Sometimes when I think about getting a red card, it's just the emotional and the mental jar. You've got to figure out emotionally how you're going to deal with these next few minutes. So for João Victor to stay down there and just give his teammates a second to regroup. I mean, here, clearly, he's not much more.
He looks all right, doesn't he, as he speeds past a defender and picks up a foul of his own.
But for young players watching out there, that's some of that victimless crime gamesmanship that you just take a minute. You act like you're hurt for a minute, you let your team regroup, you let them get their composure when they're under pressure, and boom, here we see they're back again.
Push bodies forward here on this set piece that was won by João Victor. Jose Italo on his left foot. He'll be upset with himself for that delivery. But a poor ball out from River Plate, and the captain, Brian, onto it. Offside as he tried to slip his teammate in the right inside channel. Well, we had our discussion rudely interrupted by the biggest moment of the game so far. But I was definitely a Roberto Carlos fan. I don't know about you, and Cafu for sure.
Maybe Rodrigo heard you and he's a Maldini fan. It wouldn't make that much sense for the Brazilian. Maybe he was actually mad at you, Carter.
Could very well be. Of course, if you're choosing between Maldini and Roberto Carlos or Cafu, there's not really a wrong answer.
I'll give you Tony Sane as the third option there.
USA, maybe. Brazil, of course, known for their fullbacks. How many have they produced? Mike Cohn.
Perhaps the most
Marcelo.
precipitous drop-off of any player of recent history. What would be about the best player in the world to horrible in a 12-month span?
Taxi for Mike Cohn, scream the Gareth Bale fans watching. Marcelo, perhaps the best. His tackles are really just flying in at the moment. You would think the red card would have calmed the game down, but it has not. All the fire and passion you would expect from these two South American giants as they vie for bragging rights and a spot in the final on Saturday. Castro Ponce draws the foul, and really it looked like a bit of a silly leg left out there by Jose Italo because Ponce was dribbling into a cul-de-sac there.
Lucas Gabriel lucky not to get a yellow card there too. Threw the ball after. One of the points of emphasis in Major League Soccer is not showing up the referee like that.
And delaying restarts as well. So we got the twofer there. Ensuing free kick, really good shape to that one. Fernandez starting to rev up his quality in his deliveries here as this game goes on. And commentators' curse strikes again as there is a miscommunication there between Fernandez and his teammate. It's actually the center back, Suarez, who is still up from that set piece. Brazil looking for the big number 9. What an excellent header that was, stumbling as well, Ryan. João Victor. Well, he's dribbled past a few players in midfield today, hasn't he, João Victor, and he's picked up another foul as well.
Both João Victor and Lucas Gabriel have been so calm under pressure in the face of this River Plate defense.
And now they just have the one forward to look for as well. They've managed to hold on to the ball. Now João Gabriel taking control of this free kick. Floats it into the penalty spot and all the way through. Good communication from the goalkeeper as it bounces into his hands. Looking for Beltran. There's 1-on-2. And Brian Cruzales just elects to head it out of play. Not taking any chances there with the dangerous Lucas Beltran right on his heels.
And this is the scenario we might see a lot for these last 20 minutes. Flamengo back in a block of 8, meaning the 4 midfielders firmly in front of the back 4, shutting off all passing lanes in there. They win it back, and this is what they're going to try and do. Go from the block of 8, wait for River Plate to get numbers forward, and try and hit them quickly on the break.
And it was Joao Victor breaking the lines, and in the end, it was actually a really excellent touch from Suarez, as the deflection looked like it might fool him and allow Ryan in behind, but big center half for River Plate just sticks out his right boot, manages to deflect it for a throw-in. Good ball for Beltran. He tries to lay it off for Fernandez. Surely a foul from Fernandez. Yes, it is. Just the tug back there as the layoff was just out of Enzo Fernandez's reach. Again into number 9. He is so excellent in the air, Ryan, and now trying to use his body to shield it, and into the far corner! What a goal from Ryan! Down a man. Flamengo take the lead.
As the saying goes, big players in big moments. And man, did Flamengo need Ryan here in the second half. They lost his strike partner Rodrigo, and it was all going to come down to Ryan's ability to hold up the ball and provide goals, and he does both here. That initial ball came in, he held it up, he laid off the header, he brought his teammates in, they give it back to him, and man, the strength to hold off a defender, the balance to get his hips turned, and the technique to make the ball contact and hit the only part of the goal that it could have scored.
Through the defender's legs, what a finish. As
the River Plate coach has to be out of his mind. Who else on Flamengo is going to score except Ryan? And you give him that opportunity.
You mentioned it, Bobby Warshaw. He did so well to just touch it off his head initially. And oohs and ahs from the crowd as Joao Gabriel puts it through the legs of a defender and tries to set Ryan loose behind the back line. Well marshaled in the end, and River Plate, they're shell-shocked. Up a man, but down a goal, but here's a ball in behind. Can Lucas Beltran get there? No, because the goalkeeper comes off his line and smacks it out of play.
So smart for Lucas from Flamengo, too, just getting Beltran's way. Beltran had him for pace, and Lucas just took that away from him.
Player down for Flamengo. River Plate do not care. They're down a goal. The referee does.
Oh, no, referee, what are you doing?
Really?
He must have the yes, he does. Otherwise, he shouldn't have stopped that if it wasn't a head injury.
That's what Joao Victor is saying. He's motioning for an elbow to the assistant referee. And it won't be a video review here. It's just a foul off the ball that the near side assistant caught on Enzo Fernandez, so he'll go into the pocketbook. Referee giving a yellow card to number 16 for River Plate.
And only a yellow card, Carter, so it couldn't have come from the video assistant referee. It must have come from someone on the field, the fourth official or the assistant or the AR.
Just see the aftermath there. As Joao Victor went to ground. Again, trying to stand it up for the big number 9. And it'll be a yellow card for Ryan. And persistent infringement is what you can see the referee motioning there.
This game's getting spicy, huh?
It's getting real
This is
spicy.
fun.
So much on the line for these two teams. River Plate, of course, 3-time defending champions in this competition. They know the history that their teams have had in the Generation Adidas Cups. They're trying to defend a great River Plate tradition. They find themselves down a goal despite being a man up in the second half.
You don't want to go back to Buenos Aires if you're River Plate without a championship.
It'll be the first one in 4 years to do so.
It's an awkward walk back into the academy lunchroom.
Certainly you'd think they would hear from their older academy mates. As Lucas Beltran just nods it back to the goalkeeper. And again, it's heating up here. No love lost between the Argentines and the Brazilians. Important to note for Lucas Beltran and the rest of this River Plate team, though, there's only 5 minutes and change left in this second half. Every little after hours fracas that they get into takes time off their ability to score an equalizer. And Flamengo still have not made a substitution. It looks like that's about to change, despite being down to 10 men. They've come into this game knowing that this is their 11. They've started the same 11 all 4 matches. Those guys have pretty much stayed on the field for this entire competition. River now moving across into the area. Good jostling and a decent header as well, but it's straight at the goalkeeper. Ryan giving an exasperated look there.
If I'm a defender for Flamengo, I'm so mad at my goalie right now.
Quick kick out from Flamengo goalie, and now advantage played as River streaks forward. The volley straight into the defender. Another really good chance for River Plate. And the referee slowing things down to allow for this substitution.
And this is what you're going to see for the last 5 minutes. We talk about managing a game. We talk about closing out a game. This is what it means. The second a team starts to feel like they have momentum, the second a team feels like the goal is coming, you do something like this. You make a substitution. You go down with the cramp. And it's up to you subjectively as an audience or as a viewer how you feel about that. Some people don't like it. Some people can't stomach it. And I totally understand that. But at the end of the day, it's within the rules, and the game is about winning and losing. You have to applaud a team's ability to feel these moments and see a game out.
And these players won't much care for what Johnny on the couch thinks if they make it through to the final, will they? As Flamengo down to 10 men, thanks to the red card to Rodrigo in the second half. Injury here being addressed. You would think the referee has pointed to his watch, so this will be added on. We should have several minutes of stoppage time here in the second half, as we tick under 3 minutes of regulation. River Plate ramping up the pressure here in the latter stages, and decent volley attempt as well.
That's going to be key for River Plate, getting across that front post. As they get crosses in on a set Flamengo defense, they need someone to get across the front post, because even if that person doesn't get the ball, it's going to wreak havoc and create opportunities for people behind him.
So in the end, the substitution actually does not happen. Or does it? Yeah, it does. And the referee pointing to his watch to signal that he is taking note of how long this substitution is taking to occur. And coming on, Jonathan Sousa, listed as a right back.
Big interception there, because Flamengo was down another man. Flamengo is here with the 4th official off hurt. So they were down to 9 people on the field.
They've been restored to their full 10. It was Bruno Gabriel who made way for Jonata. More defensive player for Flamengo coming on to try and see this one out. Miscommunication there in the clearance, smacked against his own player, but a poor touch along the near sideline alleviates pressure. And River players getting upset, and Fernandez has to be careful. He's on a yellow card, Enzo Fernandez.
The referee went to his pocket there and then remembered that Fernandez had the yellow and decided against it.
It was interesting to see what goes through a referee's mind in those moments. There's a foul. Fernandez clattering into the back of the Flamengo player as we move into the last minute of regulation. Chance for Flamengo to push up. Been pinned back for the last several minutes. You see the coach for Flamengo telling Ryan to come over to the near-hand side. I'm sure they're going to stand it up to him. Now he's yelling, the coach, at Jose Italo as he kicked it to where Ryan had been. But he makes amends, Italo, by tackling it away. Still loose, though. Beltran trying to get around. Excellent block from Lucas de Freitas. What a wonderful challenge from the center back. Well, these two teams certainly getting heated with a place in the finals at stake here as we move into stoppage time officially now in the second half of this first semifinal. In, stood up for Ryan. Hacked clear past the center circle. It's a foul on Flamengo as Lucas Beltran tried to header it backwards. Appears that there'll be 4 minutes of added time. Not the number that River Plate was hoping for, but still 4 minutes to try and get an equalizer. And actually, no, it's offside against Lucas Beltran. Not a foul. He and Lucas, the two Lucases there, exchanging words. Time running out for River Plate to defend their crown in the Generation Adidas Cup. 3-time defending champions trail by a 0-0 to Flamengo. Cross into the area, Beltran! Oh, it's a wonderful cross from the right-hand side. Beltran couldn't steer his header past the goalkeeper.
Not the guy Flamengo wants to leave open right now.
He's still mad at himself, Lucas Beltran, there, as that was a really good opportunity for River Plate. Restarted quickly, trying to get it out again to Castro Ponce. River Plate up a man. Flamengo defending admirably with just the 10 men they have on the pitch. This one's headed forward, and good shout there from goalkeeper Pedro Victor. Imagine he won't be kicking this one out as quickly as he, okay, commentators curse again. As he punts it long, and River Plate can gather and restart their attack. Well, you can hear the yell all the way up here from Jose Italo. And the River Plate players do not like the reaction from the Brazilian left back.
It's an incredible balance. This is the third time I've watched Flamengo do this week. Have a lead late in the game, players fall, there's antics, and it's this incredible balance of beauty and disgust that I feel inside me when I watch it. Because it is impressive how they do it, when they do it. It is such a science as much as it's an art. But there's still a part of me, Carter, that's like, let's just get on with the game. And yet, here they are, probably moving to the final. So who gets the last laugh on that one?
It's cagey maneuvers from the players on the field, and then cagey maneuver from the coaching staff as well, as there's a late substitution here. Arthur coming on to take a few more seconds off the clock. He replaces Joao Gabriel, the number 10 for Flamengo. Not a lot of sand left in the hourglass here for River Plate. 3-time defending champions on the ropes.
Not that many numbers in the box for River Plate, though. as these balls go wide, their best option is going to be on crosses. But here we see the one guy they want on the end of the cross has to come get the ball.
Did he force a corner? He did. Big time play there as it looked like the ball was going to run out. Lucas Beltran's first touch, a little heavy. But the industry from the forward for River Plate has allowed for another chance from a corner. Does the goalie come up here? He does. He's pausing Daniel Hernan Montigno.
But they don't wait for him.
Edge of the area. Here's a chance here. Blocked away. And the goalie is off his line. Ryan spotted it. Didn't match his teammate Rodrigo's effort. And the Brazilians are yelling at the referee to blow for full time. We've got some multi-ball pinball here. As we're well into stoppage time here in the second half. Can River Plate find a goal to send it to extra time? Headed to the edge of the area. Little step over. And a goal kick. As it looked like he beat the defender, but then a touch comes off the River player last. And could this be the final kick of the game? Again, Flamengo trying to make a last-second substitution. But they don't have to, as they have toppled the three-time defending champions. Flamengo emerged victorious despite going down a man. It was a goal from their big number 9, Ryan.
Just a spectacular performance from Flamengo. And if you could see the field right now, players from both teams just lying on the ground, emotionally exhausted, exhilarated or heartbroken. You can see how much this game means to these players. But Flamengo, so sturdy defensively. They go down a man, and they needed a spectacular moment from their star player, and that's what they got. Ryan to start the play, to finish the play. Talk about big players stepping up, and that's what Flamengo got today.
What a huge play from the big number 9 for Flamengo. Credit to the River Plate players and Flamengo players. It was a fiery encounter. You see the red card there from Rodrigo that could have changed the match. They're congratulating each other here on the pitch at full time. Lovely cushion touch off the head. And then in the back of the net with his next touch, Ryan. It's his goal that propels Flamengo to the championship game on Saturday. As Flamengo upends the three-time defending champions River Plate by a score of 1-0. Bobby Warshaw, it's been a pleasure calling these games with you. As River Plate fall 1-0. Clube de Regatas do Flamengo. Moving on to Saturday's final. Who will they play? We'll determine that coming up next as David Goss and Bobby Warshaw will be on the call of Atletico Paranense versus Pachuca to determine who will play against Flamengo in Saturday's final. Stay with us. We'll be back for the second semifinal in the Champions Division, the 2018 Generation Adidas Cup.